vicious kangaroo-like animal terrorizes Marion settlement. This ghost chicken was like, excuse me, no PDA in my pond. Ghost dogs, a paranormal bond at the Tower of London, a ghost chicken, and we're going to round it out with some ghost kangaroos. So this is the Paranormal Pets episode.
Hi.
Hello. And happy birthday to you, Corinne.
Thanks. I forgot it was my birthday episode until right now. Because we're recording it a few weeks before. But Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel so... Am I turning 32?
I know, I keep forgetting.
Or are we 32 or 33?
We're turning 32.
Okay. I feel so 32.
It's so 32 of you to forget how old you are.
It's all a blur now.
I was still ID'd the other day. So
you were?
That felt great.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Where?
At Ledger in Salem.
No way.
But they ID everyone, so.
Oh, okay. I actually did get ID'd and I was like, what the fuck? I went to go get my dad a Father's Day gift. So I went in and I was like, do you guys have Blanton's? Which, if you're underage, you don't know what Blanton's is.
Yeah, Blanton's is a nice whiskey. Yeah. Or bourbon, sorry.
Right. So I was like, do you have Blanton's? And then the women were whispering. And then when I showed my ID, the one woman was like, I told her that you were of age, but she was like, you need to make sure to ID this girl. And I was like, that is insane. Like, I'm like withered coming in, like, do you have Blanton's? Like,
the
so many wrinkles.
20-year-old drinking Blanton's.
Yeah. Anyway, I felt nice that one woman who was in her 70s thought that maybe I was underaged.
Well, you look beautiful. You're radiant. You're glowing. You look like you're in a cult right now with your white.
I know. I got rid of almost all my clothes. So I really, truly don't have much to record in.
I'm very impressed with you. I will like to say I've come to the conclusion that a capsule wardrobe is just not for me. And you made a suggestion. You're like, what if we had more of like a uniform for our recordings? And I was like, Corinne, but then I can't write off spending so much money on clothes. Like,
Sabrina buys a lot of clothes for these episodes. And I get rid of my clothes.
Yeah. So.
But maybe I need to start coming up with a wardrobe of my own to wear here.
You'll
walk into the office next time and there'll be like a rack of just like I walk in and get dressed.
It's like here. Alex Cooper has her like all her sweat sets.
Yeah.
The unwell ones.
See, that's what I need because I got overwhelmed by my closet and I purged just about everything, but to the point where now I don't have anything to wear.
You could show up nude.
Oops. I could, but
we'd probably get a lot of followers. Well, we'd get kicked off most platforms. But OnlyFans would take us in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
By the way.
This is Two Girls, One Ghost.
Two Girls, One Ghost. And we are your ghostesses. That is Corinne, the
Hello.
birthday girl, the glowing, beautiful birthday girl.
Feeling comfortable.
And I'm Sabrina. I wish we had like a extra light to radiate you. Oh.
Here we go. Extra light for all of us.
Okay, I had a brilliant epiphany and I also thought it was very funny, so I'm going to share it with you here today and with all of you.
Okay.
So I love the summer and I love sitting out in the sun and tanning and getting bronzed and sun-kissed. But I was like, we're basically roasting ourselves. Like we're
damaging our skin.
We're baking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking about how people tan differently, right? But I'll use Payne as an example. He is a very pale white boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, like, you don't tan, you just burn. I'm like, you're a shrimp. Because shrimp start out like grayish white, and then when you cook them, they turn pink. And then I was like, I'm a steak, a nice fillet.
Ooh.
Where you like roast it. So
brown.
We're all pieces of meat that we just burn.
I think I'm a s'more. I turn a bit orange.
Oh. Do s'mores turn orange?
Yeah. If you get them golden.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah.
You burn yours.
I love burning a s'more.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. This is like...
What?
Such a stupid pivot.
No, I like it.
But you talking about that just reminded me. I just learned about the boiled frog theory. Have you heard this?
No, what's this?
It's like not something frogs would actually do, but it's basically saying like if you stick a frog in a pot of boiling water, they'll notice and jump right out. But if you stick a frog in normal temperature water and slowly increase the heat, they'll never know that they're in danger until it's too late, which is not actually true of frogs, but it's basically like a life lesson of.
Oh, I was like, who's testing this out?
Right.
Who's torturing these poor frogs?
I hope no one's actually torturing the frogs. But basically, it was like a lesson in life that essentially, like, sometimes little things happen so frequently. And if it doesn't feel like one big thing to shock you and be like, oh, I need to recognize that this isn't good for me, then sometimes you don't notice until you're boiling and it's really bad.
I like that theory. The slow burn, sometimes you don't notice
Slow burn.
what's happening. That's a great transition because while we're not talking about boiled frogs today, we are talking about pets because, Corinne, you like heartwarming stories. And when I think of you, I think of pets. I think of, whoa, why did I just forget his name?
Wrinkles?
Wrinkles. I almost said like whiskey. And I was like, why? That's not right.
Because he's got nice whiskers?
Maybe. And we were just talking about bourbon. And then I think about wrinkles. And then I think about cryptids. So I put together an episode that kind of puts everything that I just stated together. And I also right now have 6 foster cats. I have a mama and her 5 kittens. I was writing this episode by like sitting with them. They're so small that they're still nursing. Like they don't eat any other food yet. But that also means that they don't know how to use the litter box. And so it's a bit messy.
Oh my God, but how sweet. How long are you going to have them?
Just until Saturday, because then I go to LA. They just needed someone quickly, and I was like, I can do it temporarily. But look at how cute they are.
So sweet.
And look at all 6 of them nursing up, or all 5 of them nursing on mama.
How's Leia doing?
Oh, you know, we're keeping them separate. Oh, but they're polydactyl. So while that means they're not dinosaurs, because I always get that confused, they have extra toes. They have opposable thumbs.
Is that just like a genetic thing or is that specific to a breed?
So mama has like 7 toes.
Whoa.
But, and I might be misinformed here, but what I remember being told many, many years ago is that it's common amongst like incest and inbreeding with cats, which is common like if cats are in the same area, they crossbreed with family members. So this is the Paranormal Pets episode. And you're lucky that this fell on your birthday because it's episode 333.
Oh, so it could have been so spooky.
I was about to double down 333 times 2, 666.
Yeah.
That'd be spooky as fuck. But we're going to do heartwarming.
Okay. I'm actually shocked that you did because I feel like you could have easily pivoted and been like, oh, we'll just do the encounters all heartwarming.
No, I did this for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think we already recorded your birthday encounters. I don't even know what we did.
I don't know either.
Couldn't tell you. Okay.
We're just chugging along this year.
So we're talking about ghost pets, pets with paranormal abilities, and so much more. And I feel like we talk about so many ghosts on this podcast, human ghosts, but we don't often talk about spectral animals. And there are a lot of them. Some of them are scary. Some of them are tragic. I try to stay away from those. And instead of talking about hellhounds and not deer and scary creatures in the woods, we are going to talk about a couple of ghost dogs, a paranormal bond at the Tower of London, a ghost chicken, and we're going to round it out with some ghost kangaroos.
Interesting.
So
I've never heard of a ghost kangaroo.
Well, you're about to hear.
Why can't there be?
They're running rampant, hopping rampant all over.
Boxing the crap out of others.
Yeah, they're kind of violent.
You ever been punched by a ghost? Maybe it was a kangaroo.
Maybe it was a kangaroo. Okay, so there are a lot of ghost dog stories, and we covered a few in the past, and I just wanted to highlight those episodes in case people want more of them. In episode 13, we talked about, I think, a couple different ones. It was a whole pets episode.
I remember that.
So we did the Hound of Goshen, which is an avenging ghost dog in South Carolina. We talked about the Belmont Hillsborough Protector, Preston the Boxer, who is this like amazing boxer who saved a child one night on Halloween and continues to protect children and like make sure they get across the street safely. And then we also talked about Nightlife, who is a ghost dog that shows up at parties, literally a party animal, which I did not remember talking about that one, but I love it. Okay, and then episode 27, we talked about Greyfriars Kirkyard, the cemetery in Edinburgh, where there's Bobby, the ghost dog that roams the cemetery. And then episode 82, we covered, and this one was sad, but the Overton Bridge.
Oh, yes.
Where sadly and tragically, a lot of dogs have, for some mysterious reason, continued to jump off the bridge.
Yeah. And I will say, it does in a way, it feels like we've covered a lot of stories for only having 333 researched episodes, but also not enough because that's like just a handful.
I mean, I think we have some scattered throughout or like mentions. I think in the White House episode, I think you talked about the demon cat, like the ghost cat that's supposed to haunt there. And then in the Tower of London episodes, I did talk about the spectral bear and animals that are sometimes seen.
And there's a lot of other just like animal hauntings trickled throughout where like there'll be like a little chihuahua that haunts someplace or whatever, like the back of a bar.
Yeah. So we're going to begin. I thought I wrote, we're going to begin this amazing episode, but I wrote, we're going to begin with an amazing story. But this is also an amazing episode.
Believe in yourself.
This is a story about ghost dogs, reincarnation, and Scotland. And it's also going to set up what I'm researching for my next episode, so episode 335. Because as I was doing this, I was like, wait, this story is so juicy and there's so much more to it. So I'm just telling you I'm giving you a teaser for next week, but I'm giving you the specifics about the dog.
Okay.
This is called the Ballechin House, and it's considered the most haunted house in Scotland. But the hauntings begin with a man who believed he would be reincarnated as a dog. He believed.
1 second. Sorry.
What?
If this is my birthday episode, then Sven should be celebrating.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. There's no reason for Sven to not celebrate me. There we go.
Woohoo. Sven is so festive. We gave him lockjaw, though. Now that Sven is ready, we can continue.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay, so the hauntings begin with a man who believed that he would be reincarnated as a dog so deeply that it may have come true. So our story is about Major Robert Stewart, who, after serving in the Indian Army and becoming fascinated with Hinduism, he returned to Scotland, convinced he would one day inhabit the shape of a black spaniel. So much so that he told everyone. Everyone.
He was manifesting it.
Yeah. And
writing it into
existence.
Literally.
Yeah. And so he lived in the Ballechin House, which we'll talk about the history of that more in 2 weeks' time. But in order to make this transition easier, he lived around upwards of 14 dogs. And his idea was that like one of these dogs would basically serve as his vessel when he departed this earthly plane.
Oh, so he's just kicking the dog's soul out to take it over? He's possessing a dog?
Listen, it didn't work out that way because upon his death, his nephew inherited the house. And his nephew's name was, did I even write it? No, because I don't like him.
As the stories should be told, if you don't like someone, write them out.
Don't share their name. But this nephew, and I don't know all of his reasonings behind this, but he was not keen on the idea of his uncle returning. Maybe he was like, this is my house now. I don't want uncle coming back. So he very sadly ordered all of his staff to kill any dog that stepped foot on the property.
This is my birthday episode?
That's the saddest part of this whole episode. Oh, there is death of a chicken later, but...
Oh my God.
But that didn't stop Major Robert Stewart because he was like, you think you beat me? No, 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 no. I'm going to come back as a spectral dog. So do what you may, you can't get rid of me. So one day, his nephew's wife is like sitting in the study doing something when all of a sudden this like wet dog smell emanates throughout the whole house.
Yeah.
And she's like, what is this? And then she like gets up to go investigate and she feels something nudge against her leg, almost like a dog kind of just like rubbing up against her. She's very confused. As time is passing by, more and more people start to report the smell, the feeling of a dog walking past them, people seeing a large black spaniel crossing rooms. One witness watched his own dog greet the phantom dog very happily and like playfully. Visitors spoke of persistent thuds like a wagging tail striking a door when no animal was present. A guest in the home had brought their own dog and they were sleeping at night and woke up to their dog like jumping around and playing. And they're like, oh, does our dog have the zoomies? I think this is back in the 1900s, so they probably were saying the zoomies. But then they noticed that their dog is not playing by themselves. They're playing with what looks to be another dog, but there's something wrong. It is a bodiless dog with just two detached black paws. And as they notice, these black paws like jump up like excitedly and the paws land on the bedside table next to them. So I imagine like the little dog be like, hello. And then it disappears.
I'm so curious too, because if so many dogs lost their lives on this property, I'm curious if this is him in some way coming through as a dog or if this was one of the dogs.
Yeah, I don't know. And I also don't know how many animals actually did get killed on the property.
Mhm.
I'm hoping none, but I think that's wishful thinking. And
Mhm.
either way, that's the ghost dog of Ballechin House. And
Sounds like a very happy dog.
there's so much more to these hauntings, including like an entire society that formed in this house to do paranormal investigations. Yeah, which we will talk about in 2 weeks.
I wish we could just trade episode schedules so that we could just learn about it next week too.
No.
I know. I'll do my research.
Have to finish my research. Okay. Now our next paranormal pup is a little bit unusual. It is the Postbridge Bloodhound, who is more of a paranormal booze hound.
Ooh.
Because this kiddo, this dog is not protecting kids on Halloween or avenging anything, and he isn't some guy reincarnated. Actually, though, saying that out loud, I'm like, it actually would make sense if it is someone reincarnated or a spirit of a human showing up as a dog. Because let's travel through time and space real quick to the village of Postbridge in Devon, England, where in 1861, a tin miner named James Webb buys some land. He buys like 2 acres of land and he was going to build his home there. And then instead he's like, you know what? You know what our town is missing? A pub. So he asks permission from whoever you ask permission from. Hey, can I build an inn/pub? Approval granted. Stamped. Signed, sealed, delivered. Go forth, sir. So 1863, he opens his pub, the New Inn. And for years, it was a local watering hole.
It was called the New Inn?
Yeah.
I like that.
The New Inn.
It's just new in town. It's the New Inn. Have you been over to the New Inn?
Yeah. That literally. What's it called? The New Inn.
The New Inn.
It's like a little lazy, but
I like it though.
Okay, so for years, it's a successful pub and inn, but then he passes away. I think this is like 1889 now. And so James passes away and his son inherits it. His son's name is John Webb. But around this time, it's 1889. So it's like leading into the Prohibition era. There's like a political, societal, religious movement called the temperance movement that a big part of it was that alcohol is the demon's drink. So it's a movement to push away from drinking. And John, and there's like a whole story about how like John's wife was very pious and was like, John, stop drinking. And he stops drinking. But I'm like, why blame the wife? Like the whole world is not drinking. So anyway, John is basically urged to cut back on his unholy activities of drinking. And he decides to take it one step further. And if he's not going to drink, if his wife's not going to drink, if his friends are not going to drink, his clients and customers aren't going to drink either.
Oh, wow.
So he rebrands the inn entirely. I mean, this is also like the government. We're leading into prohibition. So it's about to become
the religious part of it is weird because what was their religion? If it had anything to do with Christianity, did Jesus not turn water into wine?
Okay, Moira. I know, that's actually a good question. During the Prohibition movement, were churches allowed to serve the blood of Christ?
Right.
Those priests were getting fucked up between...
Jesuit priests?
Oh, yeah.
Those guys be boozing.
He rebrands the whole inn. He changes the name to the Webb Temperance Hotel. Again, a little bit lazy, but on the nose.
Here's the thing. They weren't competing with a ton of other businesses,
true.
Right? Like, they didn't have to file for...
And I guess it's no longer new.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's old. Middle-aged.
The middle-aged inn. So John Webb not only rebrands the whole inn and gets rid of all the alcohol, he makes a show of it, like a very dramatic display of no longer serving alcohol at the inn. He takes all of his barrels, all of his casks, all of his gin, his whiskey, his beer, and dumps them into the roadside ditch. There's so much alcohol that it turns into a stream that flows into the nearby river.
I feel like if I were someone who was trying to figure out who was actually secretly serving alcohol, that over display of following rules would make me think that he was just like an underground, like he was the like ringmaster.
It wasn't illegal yet. So
okay.
So
he was just really doing the most.
Yeah. So he makes this dramatic display. And you might be asking, Sabrina, like, where's the ghost dog in this? Well, the ghost dog enters that very evening. So as night falls and the stream of brown and red, weird, what's it called? Jungle juice that is flooding the stream.
Oh, it's like playing the game Moose.
What's that?
It's where you have an egg carton. It was a New England game, but I made people play it in LA sometimes.
Well, now I'm upset you never.
There's a bowl. No, be happy.
Oh,
there's a bowl, just a large bowl. Everyone who plays pours a little bit of their drink in, so it's a concoction of yuckiness. There's an egg carton that you prop up, and then you bounce a penny. If it goes on the right side, I think that means you like take a sip, however many sips of yours. So if it goes up like 3, you take 3 sips of your drinks. If it's on the left, you give out however many. If it goes into the bowl, everyone has to put their moose antlers up.
And whoever's last
has to drink the bowl.
The whole bowl?
Yeah, it's a really dangerous game. Don't play it.
So do you want to celebrate your birthday later?
No.
Anyway.
I don't even drink hard liquor anymore.
Anyway, so that night, as night falls, locals see a dog walk up to the river and fully lap up the booze.
Ah!
And then to add to it, this dog then vanishes into thin air.
Oh my gosh.
And ever since that night, people have seen the same spectral dog that looks like a bloodhound continue to come at 3 a.m.
Looks like a bloodhound.
Every night, even well after the alcohol dried up, to the stream, lapping up the now invisible alcohol.
I'm curious, did people talk about the dog just as a dog, or were people saying this was like a hellhound? Because it makes sense if they're like, oh, the alcohol is of the devil. And now there's like this hellhound, demonish, beastly ghost dog creature that's coming to drink the devil's juice at 3 a.m.
That would make sense. But from the articles and things that I was reading, it seemed very like, what's up with this ghost dog who's drinking the like alcohol stream?
Boozing it up.
And even to this day, people report seeing the ghost dog doing this.
Oh.
And that's why I'm like, okay, well, maybe it does make sense. It's a reincarnation or like a spectral form of a human being showing up as a dog. Like the original owner, James Webb. Like he'd be like, not all my precious money gone to waste. Well, someone has to drink it, you know?
Yeah.
So now the inn is renamed the East Dart Inn. And people swear to hear a dog walking around click-clacking with its little nails in and around the property. So now we're going to talk about the very deep bond between humans and animals and how sometimes that leads to them passing away at the same time. And I found 2 stories that are quite strange, but also interesting.
Okay.
So this first story is from the Tower of London, which I had not heard the story when I was doing my research, which we covered the Tower of London in episodes 209 and 210. In that episode, we did talk about the royal menagerie and the various animals from all over the world that the king has kept on the property. But this story is of King George II. It's the 18th century. And during this time, I believe that the lions that were a part of the menagerie, they named like the dominant male after the king. Like it was his namesake. So the male lion is also George. And George II apparently built quite the bond with his lion counterpart, so much so that when George II fell ill, so too did the lion George. And within days, George the lion passed away, and then so too did King George.
That's weird.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
But I feel like the lion passed away first so that he could be waiting for King George
as his protector to bring him
on
over.
the Rainbow Bridge.
Or was this like a case of extreme heartbreak and stress, you know?
Right.
It depends because
I don't know.
I can see where someone in that position would feel such immense stress and feel so isolated, whether they display that to the public or not.
Yeah.
But, like to feel so alone because everybody who interacts with you wants something from you, but the only thing that doesn't, aside from maybe just like food, is an animal.
Right. They're
So
more
it's like,
pure.
Yeah.
I also don't really know how often King George II was like visiting his lion and, his whole menagerie. I feel like, there's a lot of, we're not going to do it, but we could have a whole conversation about how like it's not ethical to keep animals like this, so.
Do you remember at LMU when they brought a lion
Oh my
to
God,
school?
it was the saddest thing in the world.
Yeah, that was the last time they did that because all the students were like, what the fuck?
Oh my God, it was awful because our mascot is the lion.
LMU Lions.
And they thought it was a good idea to bring a lion
Just like in a cage
to the campus.
In the hot sun.
Yeah.
In the middle of, everyone was pissed. So they did not do that again, that's for sure.
Okay, so a similar story is of an entire pond of fish in Normandy that felt King Henry II's death quite literally and dramatically. So King Henry II was in his castle at Exmay, which is 5 miles from this pond in Normandy. And just hours before the king's death, out of nowhere, these fish begin to attack one another, like killing one another until not a single one was left alive.
Ooh.
And as the last fish died, legend says, so too did King Henry II.
That is really creepy.
And I don't think King Henry II was like visiting fish on his time off.
Right. Well, it almost makes, how did he die?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It made me wonder if there were like some sort of political, wars or something. And this was kind of like a display of the forces that would eventually end him.
Oh.
Like almost like an omen or like a warning or just like a replication of what was happening, but in fish form and accelerated.
Yeah, I really don't know.
That is weird.
And like there was only one mention of this story. Like I couldn't find it anywhere else because King Henry I died by eating some type of fish, even though he was like told not to. So that dominates the internet when you look it up.
Huh.
Okay, well now we're going to pivot to ghost chicken.
Ooh. Bok, 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 bok.
This is the first chicken put on ice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because my mind first went that it's like on ice, like when you go to like a fish market and then they have the fish. And then my second thought was like it's wearing figure skates and it's on the pond.
Yeah. Disney on ice. But
Disney on ice, form. But it's the chicken performing.
Well, the chicken is kind of performing a little bit and there's a lot of drama with this chicken, but it's also sad. There's death of a chicken here.
Mm-hmm.
But our story begins with Sir Francis Bacon, who we have all heard of, but he was an English statesman, a philosopher, and an early scientist born in 1561. Sometime in 1626, Sir Francis Bacon became intrigued by and determined to experiment with meat preservation. So it's a cold January night, and Sir Francis Bacon was traveling with the king's physician to Highgate. He was, shivering in his itchy, scratchy clothing, trying to stay warm in his layers, when all of a sudden, the cold helped an idea come to mind. What if we could use the snow to preserve meat?
Oh.
And he says this out loud, and the physician goes, "My kind Sir Francis Bacon, that is a brilliant idea." And so he's so elated that he encourages Francis Bacon to experiment post-haste. And he's like, reroute the carriage. And they, instead of going to the castle, they reroute to in town. There's this like woman who has chickens.
Yeah.
So they buy a chicken from her. They have her pluck the feathers, gut it. Yes, they killed the chicken. And this is not like an easy, quick thing. So, she's doing her work. And in the story, it says that Sir Francis Bacon, as she's doing this, goes outside to grab the snow. But I'm like, the time here isn't really working out. But Sir Francis Bacon apparently spent a lot of time outside while she was prepping the chicken. So I like to imagine he built a snowman or two, then gathered the snow. By the time that the woman was done plucking the chicken, he comes inside and he stuffs the chicken with the snow.
Oh, he puts it inside of the chicken. Oh, weird.
Because this is, it's early days. No one's ever done this before. He didn't know what else to do. It's not a bad idea.
Wait, when was this?
1626.
Where was this?
Highgate, UK, England.
Oh. It's just weird because like trading routes existed. And I'm just thinking about all the Nordic, Northern Hemisphere indigenous groups that like were already doing that with moose, with bear, with elk, caribou, whales. Like that was already kind of like a practice to use ice.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Either way,
do some research, but that's
this
interesting.
is the first time like it's happening where Sir Francis Bacon is. I think
there
was a movement in this time where people were trying to do meat preservation. So like maybe there is some overlap with others, but he is stuffing this chicken with ice.
Mm-hmm.
He's determined to test this theory, but in his post-haste and in his building of a snowman and spending a lot of time outside, Sir Francis Bacon caught a chill, one that turned deadly. And within 2 days' time, Sir Francis Bacon died from pneumonia. And ever since his death, people have reported seeing a spectral white bird without feathers resembling a plucked chicken running about in circles in Pond Square before then disappearing into the ether. A poultrygeist, if you will.
That's good.
I did not come up with that, but it was very applicable.
Oh, I
waited
like that.
to land it. Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks. And there are so many encounters with this poultrygeist. In 1943, aircraftman Terrace Long was crossing Pond Square late at night when he was startled by the sounds of a horse and carriage. So he like looks around, but he sees no horse and carriage.
Mm-hmm.
And then just as that sound disappears, the sound of a chicken like clucking comes in its place. And he sees this white plucked chicken running and clucking around. And then he disappears.
My mind is now going, just if he hadn't passed away, would he still have died by having bad chicken?
But he didn't eat it.
But how would he have tested if it was...
Oh, that's true. Like if he didn't die from the cold.
Yeah.
Would he
have still died
or
from the chicken?
Had he not spent so much time trying to preserve meat? It's so interesting how like he was trying to use the snow to preserve meat, but the ice and the cold killed him.
Yeah.
It's ironic.
He was working with ice to find a way to sustain
life.
And
it killed him.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of debate over Sir Francis Bacon's like death and all of this stuff that I didn't get into. But if people are historians, don't at me. Okay, so then in the 1960s, a stranded man saw the same plucked chicken running in circles again before disappearing. So it's very similar encounters where it's like the chicken running in circles, which is very sad and makes me think it's a residual haunting. But then there's this one encounter, which I enjoy and I think it's very funny. This ghost chicken decided, I don't like romance, because one day there's this couple canoodling in the Pond Square. It's 1970. And they are entangled in a passionate kiss on a park bench.
Oh, romance.
When all of a sudden, this ghost chicken starts running in circles around the park bench, scaring the living daylights out of this couple that they like sprint out of there as fast as possible.
Oh no, I thought it was going to be like a Disney scene where like it runs circles and then like sparks start to fly up and then they're levitated in their kiss and they're just like floating in their embrace.
This ghost chicken was like, excuse me, no PDA in my pond.
Yuck.
It's like a chaperone at a school dance. This couple like looks back to see where this chicken came from and where it went, and it's gone.
And that's so weird. Like, I don't think the UK just has rogue chickens running around, right?
No. And it's like specifically in this Pond Square where the story of Sir Francis Bacon like getting a chicken and trying to preserve meat happened.
Would you ever have chickens?
In theory, yes. I think in practice, no. It'd be a lot of work, a lot of upkeep.
Because they're dirty in their cages.
And my neighbors have some, so I wake up to the they're very chatty.
Yeah.
I
the
like
North
them.
Shore, you can have chickens. You just have to apply for permits.
There's a lot of them actually in Marblehead. When I go on my walks, I see a lot of their little pens. What are they called? Crates, cages.
What are they called?
Pens?
Hen pens?
Hen pen? That's
No, I feel like it's there's has to be another word for it. A chicken walk?
That's not what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I think it's called a chicken walk.
Well, that's wrong.
Chicken coop.
Coop.
And then the walk is when you have like an enclosed whatever for them to walk around in outside of their chicken coop. The coop.
The coop.
The coop.
That's what we were looking for. Okay, so I told you I was going to include a cryptid in this.
Yes.
So our final story is about the ghost kangaroo, which is a very strange phenomena, mystery, potential cryptid that has been lurking in the United States. Yeah.
In the U.S.?
In the U.S., which is why it's like, this is not a kangaroo, like this, because it's the U.S. We don't have kangaroos hopping around.
No. Who started this lore? Was it the Australians?
No, it was the Wisconsinonians.
Good old Wisconsin. Had
Yeah.
some bad cheese and suddenly they were hallucinating some ghost kangaroos.
And then it traveled throughout the country. It crossed state lines. It has been all about.
It's hopping around.
It is hopping around. Okay. So there's a lot of mystery with this, and it's going to be left open-ended. Far out of their natural habitats, but close to home to us, are some ghost kangaroos.
I'm kind of scared. I don't want to encounter one.
For over a century, people across multiple states have reported sightings of kangaroo-like creatures hopping through cornfields, standing on country roads, and even peeking into living rooms.
How do we know that it's cryptids and not just an escaped group of kangaroos?
So that's the thing with this cryptid and this entity, this kangaroo. There are so many stories that have kind of spread, but some of them can be traced back to an escaped kangaroo or like a zoo situation, but a lot of them are just open-ended. Cold cases. The kangaroo cold case. One of the earliest sightings was recorded in 1899 in Richmond, Wisconsin. It was June 12th, 1899, and a storm was ripping through town when a woman saw a kangaroo leaping across her backyard. And she was certain it was a kangaroo. A whole investigation was brought into this because people were like, if there's an escaped kangaroo, like we should get it back to where it belongs. There were no kangaroos in like local zoos, and there was a circus traveling through town, but they didn't have any kangaroos in their circus troupe. So it was a mystery. Things go quiet. There are no further reports until 1934 in Hamburg, Tennessee. The newspaper headlines read, "Giant kangaroo-like beast spreads terror in Tennessee. Vicious kangaroo-like animal terrorizes Marion settlement. Tennessee's odd animal seen again. Officers scoff at marauding animal." In the span of a week, this kangaroo beast was, and this is the only like violence reported with this entity.
Okay.
This beast was reported multiple times killing ducks, massacring geese, taking the lives of beloved German shepherds. And keep in mind, kangaroos are considered herbivores. They are only violent if like they feel threatened.
Yeah.
And even
like a
then,
territorial sort of situation or something.
yeah, even then, like if they have killed people, it's truly a territorial thing, and they don't then eat the person.
Right. They're not predators.
Exactly. So this behavior is unusual, that it's killing all these animals. Unusual on top of the fact that it's unusual that they are hopping around in the US. So the entire town gets together to track the beast, and they follow the tracks to a cave. But the cave, like once the tracks go into the cave, the tracks completely disappear, which makes me think about the cave system with like all of these beliefs that there are cave systems under the Appalachia and that they're actually like little portals into different places.
Right.
How is it getting from state to state so quickly?
Totally.
The caves.
Which it's like the whole thing with the missing persons map overlapping with the cave system. It's like, did people disappear into the caves or did something drag them into the caves?
Unknown. Also, there's a website called Curator 135 that like has so many like the newspaper screenshots that I was like, thanks for doing a lot of the work for me. So a lot of the images in the YouTube video come from that article and that website. So shout out to you. So the townsfolk never found the beast. They followed the tracks to the cave and then it was gone, which also makes me think that no one wanted to go into the cave looking for it. But perhaps it teleported to another state, to New Jersey. Because in Mays Landing, New Jersey, in 1900, a family reported a strange sound coming from their barn. Upon investigating, they saw a creature that looked like a kangaroo, the size of a baby cow. They estimated at least 150 pounds. And it bounded out of the barn at an unbelievable speed and then disappeared off their property. Wow. And this was another common thing that everyone who saw it was like, okay, maybe I don't see kangaroos every day, so like, I don't know, but it feels like it's moving at really weird speed.
Yeah.
And the hops, like the space between each footprint would be massive.
Wow.
And I also don't know much about how far a kangaroo can hop between each hop.
Me neither. If it was using its tail, wouldn't there be like a tail indent too to propel it forward? I don't know how kangaroos work.
Well, then that's another thing is that some of these stories say that it would hop off and then there would be no trace left behind.
Maybe these ghost kangaroos are similar to Bigfoot in that they're, just because they vanish without a trace, an interdimensional being.
Yeah.
Opening up portals.
That is a theory. So 1900, it's seen in New Jersey. And then in 1907, I don't know, presumably it spent 6 years in the whole tri-state area. It's in Pennsylvania. And it's 1907 in Pennsburg, Pennsylvania, where multiple reportings are happening. It is spotted near Pleasant Run. Many of the witnesses stated that the creature moved extremely fast, appeared to hop or bounce. Those who saw it at a moment of stillness reported that it looked gray in color, had large feet and a tail, but that it had a head that resembled a sheep. Which,
well, kangaroos
kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like an in-between, like a dog and a sheep.
Right.
Yeah.
And a deer.
And a dingo.
And then in 1974, so there's like a good chunk of time where there aren't any like massive sightings. There's like one or two one-offs here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost 70 years later, Chicago is now harassed by this kangaroo beast.
Like downtown Chicago?
Garfield Ridge, it's a neighborhood of Chicago.
Okay.
So it started in October. A woman named Ruth Owens calls the police. And I'm sure this dispatcher was like, okay, this lady crazy. But Ruth Owens reports that there is a kangaroo on her porch trying to break into the back door.
This is so far beyond a spectral sighting because these things are spending a lot of time, are very visible.
Very. So naturally the dispatcher's like, okay, lady, but she calls it in. And so 2 officers show up to their house, very dubious, probably like, this is going to be an easy one. We'll go get some coffee. Yeah. But they arrive and they see it. The kangaroo-like beast is still there, which is also wild because that means that it's been there for some time. And then they do a standoff. They stare each other down. And then the kangaroo hops off towards the back alley. The police officers give chase, running after it on foot. But when they get into the back alley, poof, the kangaroo is gone. They investigate, and there are no reports of missing animals. They check all the zoos. Nothing. And also keep in mind, like another whole theory here is maybe there's someone who's keeping exotic pets illegally.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But in all of these states, in all of these instances, and they're not reporting it.
Unless there's some nomad with a pet kangaroo that just travels around.
Maybe. In the days that followed this report in October, multiple other reports come in. Drivers swore they saw a kangaroo crossing the road in front of them. One man claimed that the creature leapt over a fence that was nearly 10 feet tall, which again, I don't know how high kangaroos can hop. Another said it moved too fast to be real, like it was skipping through time. And the newspapers called it the Chicago Phantom. And it became a full-blown media phenomena all over the country. People were cracking jokes about, talking about, pontificating about. Paranormal investigators were like, is this a tulpa? What?
Kangaroos can run up to 44 miles per hour.
That is crazy.
Of course it looks like they're going through.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay. Kangaroos jumping height. Around 10 feet.
Okay. So it's possible this is a real kangaroo. But it keeps disappearing and vanishing into thin air.
Sometimes they're known to jump 25 to 30 feet in a single bound, too. Powerful leaps forward. So that would make sense why there's such a huge gap.
Yeah, if I saw that, I would for sure.
These beasts that you guys have out in Australia?
And apparently in the US. But so a lot of people are like, okay, is this mass hysteria? Like, we've heard the reports. Now is like everyone else seeing it because it's being talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Is this some interdimensional being? Are there portals that it's like traveling through? Is there a time slip? Because if you think about Pangea, at one point in time, all of the continents were together, that maybe there's presumably all these animals were like walking all over the different areas.
And that is why there are lake monsters.
Yes.
All over. And why mermaids exist everywhere.
Exactly. So then, there's like a bunch of articles where, okay, this one called Help, Call Task Force. And I think it's like talking about police activity that week. She throws left. Police hightail it. That's the title of the article. And then 4 years later in 1978, a family was sitting down for dinner in Waukesha, Wisconsin, when a noise outside caught their attention. A kangaroo jumped through their backyard and they all saw it. And again, when they tried to give chase, no kangaroo in sight, but it could have jumped 30 feet and
or just hightailed it up to 44 miles per hour.
Yeah, we're not catching that.
Jeez.
2 other men in town claimed to have seen and taken a photo of this kangaroo beast, but the photo is like very, very difficult to find on the internet. So if anyone finds it, let us know. And remember how it all like started in Wisconsin. It is interesting that the last like really big report of it in 1978 is back in Wisconsin. So it returned home to its roots. But my favorite article and my favorite term for this being, I can't take credit for, but it is called UHO, an unidentified hopping object.
Hopping.
Bless you. It was so funny that you couldn't laugh, you had to sneeze.
Oh, I didn't know where it was going to go. I thought it was like humanoid or something.
A Humane Society official called it a wild kangaroo chase, but members of a suburban family insisted Thursday that the animal seen jumping through their southeastern Wisconsin backyard was definitely not the common rabbit, cat, or dog. It was pretty quick, it was hopping, and we knew it had to be a kangaroo.
Somebody needs to come forward and claim their lost kangaroo.
Well, also, how long do kangaroos live for?
Yeah, how long did this stretch?
Because this happened from the first report is 1899, but there are reports all the way to today. Like 1949, a bus driver saw it hop across the road in Ohio. 1963, someone saw it in Santa Clara, California. A sighting in Buffalo in 1964. For a decade in Minnesota, residents were seeing it in 1957 to 1967. Again in Ohio, 1968. New Jersey, 1989. Back in 2019, again, there's another report in Wisconsin, back to its roots, where police were called around 7 a.m. to a bridge near Fox City Stadium where a kangaroo had been spotted. And upon arrival, there's no evidence of a kangaroo. All the local kangaroos were accounted for in zoos, any like exotic animal zoos and everything.
Which is wild too, because it's not like if there were a family of kangaroos, we would know.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. You would hope. You would think.
Okay, what's your guess on lifespan before I click search?
I want to say like 50 to 70 years.
Honestly, that makes sense because I was going to say 17, but given that every fact I've
probably
thought
way less, but
is wrong, I'm going to guess 34.
Okay. It might be like 17.
6 to 8 years in the wild, but can live up to 20 years or more in captivity with proper care.
The wild is probably,
The record for a red kangaroo living in the wild was 27 years.
Oh. But so definitely not from 1899 to present day.
Yeah.
So these sightings have happened so often. And like I said, there are some instances where like people have been able to locate said kangaroo and bring it into captivity or take it off the streets. But what about all these other instances and all of these unaccounted kangaroos hopping around the U.S.? There is a cryptozoologist named Loren Coleman who has written a book and done so much research about this. So if you want to read more, he wrote a book called Mysterious America, all about these sightings, like a whole timeline, documenting them, trying to find evidence of like any reports of missing kangaroos and theorizing of what it could possibly be. Wow. What do you think it is?
I kind of think it's weird because it seems like it's a real kangaroo, but given just like and like across different states and different times, it's like, how often are there these rogue kangaroos that never get caught?
I know.
For 100 years. That's so weird.
And it would be one thing if it was Australia, right? Because then you'd be like, okay, it's Australia. There's kangaroos. We've never had a documentation of a kangaroo species habitating in the United States.
Right.
Which also makes me think, and I always think of this story, we read it many, many years ago, but from our listener, Kin, who experienced an alien abduction and was on an alien spacecraft and saw like these exam rooms where all of these different creatures and like interdimensional species, not just from Earth, were being replaced in certain areas to try to help keep them from going extinct.
Are kangaroos going extinct?
And I'm like, or are kangaroos breaking loose from the spaceship and hopping through Wisconsin? I don't know. It's such a weird mystery.
Maybe you can outrun a spaceship if you can hop 44 miles per hour.
We don't know the rules.
No, we don't.
But yeah, those are your paranormal pets. Happy birthday.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
I am so excited wild. Too because, okay, so there's another story that I was going to do, but it needs its own full episode. but it's of skeet, motherfucker.
Skeet, motherfucker. Skeet. Hot damn.
Wait, hold on. Let me close my eyes because I'll visualize the pronunciation. I think I have a photographic memory. In Kisi. It's this bird, an African gray bird that...
Wait, how did we start talking about skeet?
Because I was trying to pronounce it, but I mispronounced it.
Oh.
It's in Kisi. It's like N'Kisi.
Okay.
And I almost said skeet. Okay, here we are. But it's this amazing story that has been so heavily researched and documented and tested about a woman. I think her name's Amelia. I can't remember her last name, but she owned this African gray parrot named Nkisi that could read her mind. Telepathy. And they literally have done like over 165 tests to test the telepathy between them. And I mean, of course, it's science or not science. And the people are,
if it includes telepathy, people say that.
But it's such a cool story. And I'll just give you one little teaser, but I want to like cover it and give it its whole episode. It also like the vocabulary was like over 800 words that Amelia had taught to this bird.
Birds are very smart.
Very smart. Like truly, he read her dreams.
That is so crazy.
Yeah. And then when she was watching a movie one night, like he was in the other room and he or she, I don't know, gender of the bird, would say things that were about to happen in the movie before it happened.
It's like truly a familiar that everyone else gets to experience.
Yes. Too. What listener story do you have?
Okay. So interesting that your first story was about someone coming back as a dog, because this is very appropriate for the listener story I picked out. It's called My Dad Died and Came Back as Our Dog. Hi, girls. My name is Elena, and I recently found out about your podcast through a friend, and ever since I have been hooked, and I think I would honestly die if I ever heard one of my stories on one of your videos.
Well, don't die.
Surprise. Stay alive. Yeah. You never know if we're going to read more. I often find myself relating to other people's stories since I inherited some abilities from my grandmother, who is a witch.
Ooh.
I've only seen her twice in my life because she lives in a whole different country. But last time I spent like 12 hours altogether listening to stories about her paranormal encounters. And of course, I shared some of mine. Back then, she told me that she believes the witchiness in our family tends to skip a generation. And due to that, my mom was not really gifted with such powers, but instead,
Mom,
I was the chosen one. As a person who has lived with my mom for now 20 years, I think that's not true at all. So let me tell you why. This story mainly revolves around my mom and my dad. My dad was not religious. He was very spiritual, though, and he loved animals, and it always seemed like he could speak with them. Ooh. He was mostly a dog person. He didn't really like cats, but for some reason, he was the only person I know who could make cats see him as a master, since we all know cats see you more as...
Okay, you were Papa Cat.
Right? So especially the cat we had. It was very bossy, very nonchalant, constantly annoyed. It was an orange cat, and it definitely always had an opinion. It wasn't a domestic cat and constantly roamed the streets. None of us could really ever scold it, play with it, and it almost never came to cuddle. But for some reason, it really loved my dad. Always kind of listened and learned when my dad would scold it. Always came home when he would come home as well. And the weirdest it ever got...
Kind of like telepathy.
Totally.
Well, there's also like a
Some
guy
sort of, like, sync.
who did it and has like an entire book about like dogs and telepathy. And there's all these studies about how like dogs know when their owners are going to come home, even when it's not like on a routine. Like say like you decide one day to come home for lunch or like from work for lunch, the dog knew.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm sure they did it in the test where it's like the sound of your car's tires from like a certain distance.
Yeah.
When did it happen?
No, it would be like the moment they were leaving work, the dog
would go wait
would like
at the door.
Something would happen with the dog to indicate that it knew that the owner was coming home. Like telepathy realized
humans.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just the ones left out. Like we're the dumb ones. It was like
I think we have potential.
We've lost whatever we're supposed to tap into.
Society has dumbed us down.
Yeah.
And AI has prevented our critical thinking.
And AI doesn't give us the correct answers when we Google stuff.
Yes.
Okay. The weirdest I ever got with that cat was when my dad died. It happened out of nowhere. We were all devastated.
Oh, jeez.
I was 6 years old at the time, so I don't have many memories from back then, but my mom has many stories, and she's told me all of them like 100 times, and they never get boring. She remembers very vividly the day before my father's death. She was coming back from work, and there was no one else at home. She had let the cat out in the morning and knew it would not come back until my father was home. Surprisingly, the moment she walked through the door, she saw the cat right in the middle of the living room. At first, she was confused. How did the cat even get in, since there was nobody who could have let it in? But that confusion was soon replaced by the eerie energy around the cat. It was just sitting there, staring at her, like it was trying to tell her something that she couldn't understand. I have chills. And for some reason, my mom started getting this really uncomfortable feeling. And just as she was about to approach the cat, it started literally screaming. It wasn't just regular meowing. It sounded like it was crying, cries of pain.
Aww.
Like someone was torturing this cat's soul, like it was grieving.
Poor
My mom got really
baby.
scared, and so she kicked the cat out. She didn't sleep that night because she had this feeling that something really bad was about to happen. The next day, we found out that my dad had passed away of a heart attack. I remember that right before the funeral, I was sitting alone in the living room, and the cat came up to me and just kind of stared at me for a bit before it came up, got in my lap, and cuddled me like he wanted to give me closure.
Wait, so did Dad came back as the cat?
Maybe. When we came back from the funeral, the cat was gone, and we never saw the cat again. Ever since then, me and my mom started having trouble sleeping because of the exact same recurring dream. In the dream, we would see my dad, we'd cry and keep asking why he left us. He would always tell us that he's always with us, even though we can't see him. And at some point, I stopped having these dreams, but my mom did not. A year later, we decided we should get a dog. My mom was really skeptical at first since she was still missing our cat, but after the pressure from me and my brother, she finally agreed. We got an adorable, teeny tiny wiener dog exactly 1 year after my father's passing.
Oh.
It was his favorite dog breed. The first night we spent with her at home, it was also the first night my mom dreamt of something else. She had a dream where she saw my dad walking into his grave and then a few minutes later walking out of it as our new dog.
Oh my God.
Over the years, our dog started doing things that we felt had a connection to our dad. For example, my dad hated cigarettes, but my mom was a smoker and he would always try to get her to stop. So our dog would always chew up all of the cigarette boxes.
Stop.
And another example is that my dad absolutely loved chocolate candy that my gran would send us from Russia. He refused to eat any chocolates other than those. And as you know, chocolates are deadly for dogs. So every time we left the house, we would pick them up from the end of the table and put them somewhere else where the dog couldn't reach. Well, one time my brother was the last one to leave and he forgot to do that. My mom was furious and she was worried sick. And when we got home later that day, the dog had devoured all of the candies. She had even unwrapped them and she was perfectly fine. And this was the happiest that we'd actually ever seen her in a long time.
She's like, finally.
She almost seemed confused as to why my mom was mad. And there were so many more examples that I could give, but I've already rambled. So over the last 13 years, this dog has very much convinced us that this dog is our dad, who came back to support us and show us that he's always there.
Oh, that's so sweet.
This story is actually not as crazy as some of the other ones I have, such as my great-granddad coming back as a ghost who haunted my granny, but I'll share that one in a different email. Thank you for reading and stay spooky, Elena.
Yeah, Elena, I feel like you have a lot of stories. You spent like 10 hours passing ghost stories with your grandma, who's a witch.
Right.
Why do I want
There's
a
a
shirt
lot
that
to-
says like my grandma's a witch?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
We got to get our own line, as if we can't.
Or we could just do
yeah.
like grandma witch, baby witch, like you like different names for
Different
like, what
witches.
you are.
Yeah. That reminds me, there's a really cool clothing brand so my friend Allison, she was just watching the movie, which I have not watched, but it's called Last Stop in Yuma Country.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this.
And she sent me this still, Bigfoot for President. And she then sent me the link because she was like, I think you need this shirt. And it's
Add
from
to your wardrobe.
localboogeyman.com. And they have a ton of cool, like, spooky.
Localboogeyman.com.
Yeah. They have really
That's
cool
your
shirts.
new wardrobe is literally
Just all the t-shirts
all
from Local
Bigfoot
Boogeyman.
and white pants.
White pants and Bigfoot.
Your wardrobe should give
I got my white pants.
cult leader.
I got my white pants on.
Cult leader meets like Bigfoot hunter.
I like that. That's the vibe.
That's your vibe. What's
That's
your
my capsule
vibe? Share with us any of your encounters with the other side, whether it be with paranormal pets or just anything odd and unusual. If you've seen the ghost kangaroo, let us know. We want to know what's going on. 2girlsoneghost@gmail.com. And if you want episodes 1 week early and ad-free, join us on Patreon. We have so many other fun bonuses over there as well.
And you can watch us on YouTube as well. Shout out to Jamie Ryan, who edits and produces our podcast. And thank you to all of you.
And happy birthday, Corinne.
Thank you.
We love you.
Thanks.
This would not be the same without you. It really wouldn't. It would be...
You and Sven.
It wouldn't exist. We love you all.
And we will see you on the other side. And also, Sabrina got me a coffee, stopped and got me a coffee and not herself one. So that's a true friend and birthday gift.
Very spooky.